Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Elimination. 4 at once. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Blade Master. Bang. Double elimination. Blade Master. Triple elimination. Blade Master. Domination.
Point A is under attack. Point
Perfect
A captured.
aim.
Point A is under attack.
Blade Master.
Point A captured.
Blade Master. Domination. Elimination. Blade Master. Blade Master. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Elimination. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Object double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Nice. Elimination. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Blade Master. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Eliminations. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Nice. Perfect aim. Blade Master. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Incredible. Elimination. Double elimination. Blade Master. Merciless. Domination. Perfect
Point B is
aim.
under attack.
Double elimination. Perfect aim. Eliminations. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. 4 at once.
Point B
Perfect
captured.
aim.
Point B is under attack. Point C is under attack. Point B is under attack. Point C captured.
Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Merciless. Domination.
The enemy captured Point A.
Perfect aim.
Point B is under attack.
Point B lost. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Domination. Nice. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect aim. Elimination. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Elimination streak. Double elimination. Perfect aim.
Point B is under attack.
Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim.
Point B lost. Point A is under attack. Captured point B. Point A is under attack. Point A lost.
Nice.
Point A captured. Point B captured. Point B is under attack. Point B is under
Perfect
attack.
aim.
Point B
Double
is under
elimination.
attack.
Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Nice. Elimination streak. Merciless domination. Blade Master.
Point A is under attack. Point C captured. Point A. Point C is under attack. Point C captured.
Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Awesome. Elimination's perfect aim. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Domination. Elimination's perfect aim. Perfect aim.
Point C is under
Perfect
attack.
aim.
Point C lost.
Perfect aim.
The enemy captured point C.
Elimination.
Captured.
Double elimination. Perfect aim.
The enemy captured point C.
Perfect aim. Domination. Double elimination. Perfect aim.
The enemy captured point C. Point B is under attack.
Nice.
Point B captured.
Nice.
Point B is under attack. Point C
Double
captured.
elimination. Blade Master. Blade
Point
Master.
B captured. Point A is under attack. Point
Perfect
A is under
aim.
attack. Lost. The enemy captured point A.
Bang.
Point A captured.
Merciless. Merciless. Elimination. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Domination. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Blade Master. Domination. Double elimination. Domination. Master. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Incredible.
Point B is under attack. Point B lost. Point C is under attack.
Elimination streak.
Point C lost. Point B captured. Enemy captured.
Merciless
Point C.
domination. Perfect aim.
The enemy captured Point C.
Nice. Incredible. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Domination.
Bang.
Perfect aim. Double elimination. Blade Master. Perfect aim. First strike. Double elimination. Perfect aim.
The enemy captured Point A.
Perfect aim.
Point B captured. Point A is under attack. The enemy captured Point C.
Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim.
Point A captured. Point B is under attack. Point B lost. Point C is under attack. The enemy captured Point B. Point A lost. Point C is under attack.
Perfect aim.
Point C captured.
Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim.
The enemy captured Point is under attack.
Elimination
Point
streak.
C captured.
Perfect aim.
Point B is
Double
under attack.
elimination. Perfect aim.
Point B captured.
Perfect aim. Domination. Double elimination.
Point
Domination.
C is under attack. Point C captured. Point B is under attack. Point C is under attack. Point B lost. Point C lost. The enemy captured Point A.
Combo breaker.
The enemy captured Point C. The enemy captured Point B.
Perfect aim. Blade Master.
Bang. Point A is under attack. Point A captured.
Perfect aim. Domination. Elimination streak. Double elimination. Perfect aim.
Bang. Point B is under attack. Point A is under attack. Point B is under attack. Point B lost. Point A lost. The enemy captured Point B. The enemy captured
Nice.
Point A. The enemy captured Point B.
Perfect aim.
Bang.
Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Eliminations. Perfect aim. Blade Master.
Bang. Bang.
Perfect aim.
Bang. Bang.
Perfect aim. Perfect aim.
Bang.
Merciless. Blade Master. Double elimination. Perfect aim.
Bang.
Elimination streak. Perfect aim. Object captured. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Domination. Object lost. Aim. Object captured.
Bang.
Double elimination. Perfect aim. Domination. Eliminations. Triple elimination. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Object lost. Blade Master. Object captured. Object lost.
Bang.
Object captured. Object lost. Object captured. Object lost. Object captured. Object captured. Lost.
Nice. Bang.
Object captured. Lost. Object captured. Perfect aim. Object lost. Double elimination. Perfect object captured. Triple elimination. Merciless. Object lost. Elimination. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Merciless. Object captured. Object captured. Blade Master. Domination. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Object lost. Nice. Object captured. Object lost. Bang. Perfect aim. Double elimination. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Domination. Elimination. Double elimination. Nice. Object captured. Perfect aim.